Row, row, row your boat gently through Conquest. Oh my gosh, these feats suck. That's all I have to say.
Ahoy, me hearties! Have you ever heard of At-Aten? Well, if not, you've come to the right place, for I, your captain of the deadliest ship in the seven seas, the Kraken, is gonna give you the treasure map to find At-Aten and unlock SM-33 in today's Conquest guide. Now, nothing screams pirates. I mean, I know I look like a pirate right now. Best outfit ever, am I right? Nothing screams pirate than feats that require loads of Bad Batch. No, yeah, for some reason, yeah, these feats aren't very piratey. But anyway, if you don't know what the word insolence is because you're a pirate, hit that like button, me hearties, and let us embark on our journey to At-Aten by going to the captain's quarters. I'll see you over there. Yo ho, a pirate's life for me. People, come on in. Get your finest pirate attire right now. Listen, it's the best I can put together. 2 a.m. in the morning aboard this ship. We're trying to navigate our way through this conquest for SM-33. And I know a lot of you are like, Arnold, this character doesn't look interesting. For right now, yeah, SM-33 doesn't look all that special, but we know that more pirates are right around the corner, me hearties. And once we're out of this Revenge of the Sith stuff, we'll have a better idea of what this guy's looking like. But I will say, if your Bad Batch is in a good spot, you're looking like a probable red crate here. And of course, the general will to live in Conquest, and you want to deal with Order 66 shenanigans. Stupid feats, but that's par for the course when it comes to Conquest, my friends. All right, it's time to get our journey rolling. And with that, we need to get some preliminary information out of the way. As always, my graphics will be available in the link down below, where you can go to my Ultimate Galaxy Hero spreadsheet, find the tab for the Conquest information, and you will find all these graphics there to help you on your journey in this beautiful Conquest. What is this? Conquest number, is it 19? Gosh dang, is it really that many? I'm losing my train of thought with this stuff. But anyways, let's get some preliminary information out of the way. At this point, you guys should know, if you're going for the red crate, all ye scallywags can skip out on 34 key cards in total. And again, if your Bad Bitch is in a good spot and you can deal with some of the Order 66 stuff, red crate's pretty obtainable. A lot of annoying stuff, but come on, that's Conquest. But I think for a lot of people, if you want to take it easy because you're not too sure about this pirate faction, you're going to need a bunch of brand new characters. I feel ya. Gold crate, 134 key cards that you can skip. And towards the end, I'm going to show what my free-to-play account is looking like and what crate I'm gonna be sitting in. And secondly, let's talk about data discs. If you can get a good data disc set, you know your journey through the 7 seas is gonna be a lot easier. We don't know 100% what the data discs are gonna be officially until we get into Conquest, but you guys know the drill. The past several cycles, if you see weak point that gives you a bunch of offense based on the debuffs out there, you're gonna want to grab that. And especially any other thing that can spam debuffs with that, yeah, you're gonna want to get that. But other data discs to maybe keep your eyes out for, things like Fortified, Entrench, Solid Intel, Protection Shield. Those are also common data discs that we find. But be flexible, because you don't know what treasures lie in the data disc cache until they are revealed when Conquest begins. And with that information out of the way, let's now start our journey with the global feats. Everyone, do you have Beskar Crocs on your feet right now? You better, because you're gonna need them for this. So let's go ahead, highlight what we have inside of the global feats, and we're gonna use that to work our way through the rest of the sectors. For the global feats, defeat 250 enemies on the Golden Challenge path. Win 20 battles with a full squad of Bad Batch units. Attempt to stagger 80 times. Attempt to inflict 300 damage over time effects on enemies with an ability. Win 20 battles with a full squad of light side unaligned force users. If that doesn't scream pirates, I don't know what does. Attempt to call all allies to assist with booming voice 60 times, which is granted through the unaligned force user feat. Attempt to inflict critical damage down 80 times, and then you will get deployable cooling systems, which will give you a bunch of other points along with that. Now, the good news is you don't need to go out of your way too much for all these here. These are going to fit perfectly in a lot of the sector feats that we're going to go down. But Bad Batch basically is the heart of all of this right now. I think majority of the feats can be done at the first gen Bad Batch, and if you got that, you bought the Lightspeed bundle, dude, you are in a pretty solid spot. But also, the new Bad Batch stuff are going to be helpful for a few key feats, such as spamming tons of target practice. So this right here is truly the core that we have. We're going to need a variety of critical damage down, stagger, and damage over time. And you can see here is just a bunch of MVPs that you can plug into a variety of your teams as you're working towards the sector feats. And light side unaligned forest user is probably going to be the one that kind of feels a little bit out there. It doesn't really blend in too well, but we're going to find some ways to naturally plug them in, especially when we come across the health steal up. But all right, let's get into Sector 1 and start following the dotted line to the X mark. In Sector 1, here are the feats. Gain evasion up 50 times. Defeat 50 enemies with clone trooper units. Gain secret intel 60 times. Win 20 battles with a full squad of Spectre. Win with CT 5 surviving. Win with only dark side characters. Win with Cal Kestis surviving, and win with Hunter Mercenary surviving. So let's actually focus on the general sector feats that we have. And here's where we see Bad Batch. They're already getting this party started. The most efficient team for this Sector 1 is going to be the Bad Batch itself. First and foremost, you're plugging yourself into the global feat that requires Bad Batch. Then you're going to have yourselves the Clone Trooper feat. Defeat 50 enemies of Clone Troopers. Yeah, the first gen Bad Batch's clones. Don't make the mistake, the second generation Bad Batch, they somehow lost their clone identity. I don't know how they did that. And they also get evasion up. So that's like a 3-for-1 special. So if you got Bad Batch, you're going to be cruising, my friends. But we got some other options in case your Bad Batch isn't looking the best. In terms of secret intel, there is only one, and I repeat, only one character that has that, and that's BB-8. So plug him into a trillion different lines. Plug him in a droid lineup, a Finn lineup, a Galactic Legend raid, Jedi training raid. This guide is going to be mostly focused on non-Galactic Legend stuff to show you that it's possible without GLs. You just need that spirit to row your boat gently through conquest. Oh my gosh, these beats suck. That's all I have to say. Anyway. 2 a.m. videos are the best videos, my friends. Okay, moving on. We got to do some stuff with the Spectre. This is probably the most annoying feat that we have in this sector. A lot of you guys might skip it if you don't have Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano. Otherwise, the only other thing you could do if you don't have Galactic Legend Ahsoka and Ezra Bridger is the standard General Syndulla lineup. And you'll see I have a dots question mark. Dots means damage over time. Her lead technically grants damage over times, but I don't know if that's going to count towards the damage over time feats. That's why I put a question mark in there. Otherwise, you don't got much going on here. Why does Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum say breach? Gary, make sure that's deleted before this goes live. Idiot. Speaking of idiots, I got a kitchen sink rating that looks pretty idiotic here. So again, if you have Galactic Legend Raid, you can do a lot of kitchen sink stuff, throw in a bunch of characters that contribute towards a variety of things. Secret Intel BB-8, evasion up with Han Solo ability. Then you have the stagger ability from Sabine Wren. And then you have critical damage down from Dash Rendar. So a lot of feats you could really pile in together, especially if you have Galactic Legend Rey. And if you want a simple evasion up alternative, stick to your traditional Commander Luke Skywalker team. Make sure Han Solo does a ability and keeps giving up all those buffs. And other than that, there's really not a lot of hybrid fun stuff you could do here. So if you want, maybe you can focus on the global feats. But trust me, don't worry too much about this because you're going to be using a team like this likely throughout a lot of this conquest. But with that out of the way, it's time to go to Sector 2. Sector 2! All right. Buckle up, people, because this is where the heat's going to get dialed up. We got a couple of efficient lineups that we can utilize here, but Sector 2, let's go over the feats. Gain health steal up 60 times. Win 10 battles with at least 3 dark side clone troopers in your squad. Gain stealth 60 times. Win 20 battles without losing any unit. Mini boss. Win with the full squad of clone trooper units. Win with the full squad of Empire units. And then the boss. Defeat an enemy with the Spectre attacker and defeat an enemy with Rey dark side vision. All right, so I got 2 efficient lineups that you guys can work with here. With this, you got some options. First and foremost, if you want, you have this crazy Palpatine lineup that it's going to dip into several things. A variety of global feats as well as sector feats. Health steal up is granted by Emperor Palpatine. Pretty simple stuff, right? So if you need to get out there, Palpatine's one of the better ones out there. Mara Jade's gonna do 2 things. She's got stealth capabilities just for herself, but also a big stagger ability. So that's gonna contribute towards your global feat. Bastila Shan Fallen also's got some pretty solid debuffs for the global feats. Darth Vader is gonna be probably your most used character for damage over time in this conquest cycle. And then you got some other options out there. For example, you can throw in a Darth Bane if you have him. He's got health steal up, or throw in Darth Sidious for damage over time. So a lot of good stuff you have. But guess what? the Bad Batch is going to be pretty good here because, well, they count for the global feat, but also they have tons and tons of stealth. And likely Bad Batch can help you make sure you're not losing any units in the battle. So again, kind of a 3-for-1 whammy special that we got going on here. And then we have these cheeky dark side clones, just 3 of them. We're gonna get Scorched later on this week, so I guess you could technically use that in here when that comes around. This is where things are gonna get a little bit annoying, but very manageable. Remember, you don't need to have the 3 dark side clones survive. They just gotta be there in battle. So plug in whatever. If they're even gear 1, throw in your Supreme Leader Kyle Ren to lead, do like a treasure node towards the end to farm some datacrons, throw in the clones, let them die. They don't need to survive. So this is something nobody should be skipping if you're going for gold, red, whatever. Easy stuff, just plug it in, whatever. You don't have to worry too much about it. This is probably the best spot to try to plug in some light side unaligned force users. Visa Smart has a health steal up. Cal Cassis has kind of a situational health steal up that you can throw in here, and they count for the global feats. So probably the best to try to squeeze that in. And if you want to just spam evasion up, Darth Maul lead, the GOAT himself when it comes to stealth, you're going to blow through that very, very quickly. And again, you don't need to win the battle to count the stealth. You just got to throw them in there, let them spam the stealth, complete the battle, whether you win or lose, and you're going to get credit for it. And then the Bad Batch, the reason why the second Bad Batch V2, that is, wouldn't 100% recommend it in Sector 2. We're going to need them later on for something a little bit more important. You do get stealth through the new Omega lead. Not as much, though, as the first-gen Bad Batch. So I think first-gen Bad Batch is going to get a lot more mileage in here. But also, Wrecker Mercenary has a stagger ability as well. So you can contribute towards the global feat for the Bad Batch, the stagger, as well as a little bit of stealth in here. Pretty simple stuff. Not a lot of room for creativity too much right now. But now we get the Sector 3. Sector 3 feats. Here's what we got. Gain defense up 60 times. Win 15 battles with Darth Vader surviving. Gain 400 stacks of target practice. And then win 14 battles with no attackers in your squad. The mini boss is asking you to have Omega Fugitive surviving, defeating an enemy of CC-119. I forgot another one. Who cares? Oppo. And then boss, win with Captain Enoch in your squad and win without using any support units in your squad. So what squad you're bringing in? No support units is what it's asking for. So all right, this is the sector where the Bad Batch version 2 is gonna have the most bang per buck mileage because you gotta get 400 stacks of target practice, and Omega in the first Bad Batch team, you're gonna be like, you're going to be getting probably 1 stack of target practice every single hour. So yeah, this is going to be the best way of utilizing it. And if you don't feel like putting a little bit of love into Bad Batch V2, well, maybe this might be something to skip out on, especially if you're doing the gold crate. However, you can still get a little bit of, target practice with Bad Batch V1, the first Bad Batch team. Gonna be a lot trickier with that Omega. And defense up is prevalent on this team too with Wrecker. So as you can see, we did something a little funny here. Whatever you do with the Bad Batch, try your best not to throw in an attacker. So you see, for example, Omega Fugitive lead, we made sure we threw in the clones that were not attackers. Hunter, the first gen, is an attacker, so you're gonna have a bit of a harder time. So this is where Omega Fugitive lead is gonna be much more preferred. Helps you do the non-attacker thing, gets you to defense up still, and you also get 400 stacks of target practice, and it counts for the Bad Batch global feat. That is 4 things in one, my friend. If you don't have the new Bad Batch team, well, you're gonna need to put a little bit more grind time in here. Also, in terms of defense up, if for some reason you don't have Bad Batch up and running, don't worry, my free-to-play account, yes, the greatest free-to-play, it's a free-to-play in all the history of free-to-play, doesn't have Bad Batch up and running, which is gonna be a bit of a problem, but very easy to spam defense up. This lineup is oldie but goldie when it comes to defense up. Clone Wars, Chewie Elite, throwing a Barris, Plo Koon, I'm a Gundai, Yoda to keep spamming or repeating the defense up. Easy money. Darth Vader surviving, you can plug him in one in trillions and trillions of lineups that exist out there. Whether you're gonna go for, the Darth Vader feat, for example, with maybe Palpatine down here, plug him in wherever, he just has to survive. And I assume a lot of you guys have your Darth Vader up and running. So this one should be a non-skippable one, I think, for a lot of people. And of course, we got some global feat focus thing in case you just need a reminder. If you feel like you can't do any of these, focus on the global feats. The global feats should be pretty doable for a lot of people out there versus the last cycle. Global feats are probably challenging for a lot of people. And also, if you want a bonus non-attacker squad that maybe can work towards some global feats, here you go. Dash Rendar, critical damage down, MVP for that critical damage down. Kira's got the stagger, and also we have ourselves a Zalbar. who's got damage over time effects. So you got some options here to play with. But again, Bad Batch MVP around here, my friends. Sector 4! We have attempt to inflict tenacity down 50 times, inflict death mark 10 times, win 15 battles with Batcha is surviving, gain a bonus turn 50 times. Mini boss is asking for Darth Vader and Lord Vader surviving. Win with Hu Yang surviving. And then the boss says defeat an enemy with Jocasta Nu and win with the full squad of Bad Batch. In case you guys haven't realized that, yeah, Bad Batch is pretty important this cycle. So, my friends, let's get down to business. What's the efficient lineup? Probably, okay, I mean, if you want to throw me in your team, be my guest. Yeah, I basically one-shot everything in Conquest. You just do one battle, boom. All the feats completely done. Okay, ignoring my beautiful face there. Who was supposed to be back there? I can't even tell. Most likely it was Batcher, I think. I'll delete it. I'll fix it later. Don't know how my beautiful mug got in there. But anyways, Darth Vader, Wat Tambor, Han Solo. I think that may have been Darth Malik now that I think about it. Those are amazing bonus turn characters. Very easy to get the bonus turns with this. Maul's also another great opportunity for bonus turns. But I like this because you get the damage over time from Vader. You get the bonus turns. Wat Tambor also has damage over times for the global feats. You got some bonus turns as well. Han Solo always gets those bonus turns. And you also get tenacity down for the sector through Chewie. And then Malik also has tenacity down and the bonus turns on top of that. This is actually a pretty good spot. If you have the Gungans up and running, a lot of stuff they have in there. Jar Jar has the Death Mark. We're going to talk about Death Mark again in a second. Bonus turns. You have stagger capabilities with Tarpals and tenacity down with the Phalanx. So a lot of good stuff in there if you want to get some advantage of your Gungans. Hit auto, let them do their thing here. When it comes to Death Mark, outside of Grand Arena Territory Wars, you really only have three different ways of handling it. Basically, Darth Revan lead, applying Death Mark when someone falls below 50% health. The other way you could do it is Jar Jar's basic, which it's a bit of a gamble, and then Death Mark through Death Trooper, but someone has to die in order for him to drop it on his Terminate ability. Whatever it's called, boy. Too many names in these kits, man. It's like, I'm surprised I even remember all these names on all these kits. So anyways, whole different story. Darth Revan's probably gonna be the one that a lot of people want to gravitate toward. Also, Malik's got the tenacity down on top of the Bastila Shan's got some critical damage down, for example. So there's not a lot of ways of going about it with Death Mark. Also, if you want to just do a lot of tenacity down spam, you have yourself Chewie, Captain Rex to put in a CLS team. Should be very easy handling that. And of course, Han Solo has the bonus turns. Batcher surviving. Yeah, you can't really cheese. It's not like the 3 dark side clones thing. It has to survive wherever you're going to be plugging in Batchers. So make sure you keep that in mind. So I would highly recommend for survival-based feats they're low gear, bring in some sort of, hopefully maybe a data disc that has like that forces a mark on your healthiest character. I believe it's called Voluntary Vanguard, right? Things like that are helpful. Find a node where the enemy only has single fire attacks, like let's say a Phoenix node that doesn't have like Sabine Wren on there. Good ways of trying to milk the survival feat, because I have no intention of gearing up my Batcher on my free-to-play account. That much I can promise you. But that's basically it. Again, not a lot going on. There's only 3 characters of Death Mark, a lot of tenacity down situations out there. So with that said, let's get to the final part of our journey. We're close. Can you smell the treasure? Because I can. Sector 5 feats. Let's go! All right, Sector 5. Attempt to inflict evasion down 60 times. Inflict mark 25 times, inflict order 66 10 times, win 14 battles with a full squad of Empire units. Then the mini boss, win with the Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano in your squad, win the battle, no tanks in your squad. And then boss battle, defeat an enemy with Balin Skull, and then boss again, win with Crosshair Scarred, surviving. All right, people, we're almost there. Bear with me. Evasion down, bread and butter, simple stuff with your 3PO and Chewie. Of course, again, it goes without saying, if you have Padawan Obi-Wan, the Omicron, which you can see is noted in the global feats, this is going to be used for a lot of different buffs and debuffs out there. I actually recently applied that Omicron on my free-to-play account. You can check the video up there if it's worth it. Now, if you just want to turn off your brain, throw in Padawan Obi-Wan and make progress towards these feats, it's definitely a turn off your brain type of thing. Because again, if it helps people get through a very grindy game mode and get a higher crate, I'm all for the upgrade. I digress, though. Bad Batch, gonna be good here yet again. It's gonna help you contribute towards the global feat, but also lots of mark and the Bad Batch version 2 team that we have. And the other mark situations we have, I'm not 100% sure of it, but Piet can mark his own team. Not sure if that counts towards mark in this conquest. So we'll check it out when you get to that. When you do mark with Pia on your own team, double check that it's counting. If not, you're going to pivot to something else for mark. But still, you can use this to contribute towards the Empire feat that you need. We need to do 14 battles with the full squad of Empires. It's not a complete waste. Also, you got things like the dots, Mara J stagger abilities. Cool. All right. Other mark capabilities, Jedi Knight Revan's probably what a lot of people are going to use. You don't have to get too many of them. It's 25 marks. You know, yeah. You hopefully can get 5 marks per battle. Maybe you can find a cheese node and get a lot more out of them. Order 66 is really the last thing that's kind of a pain in the butt, especially right now. We don't know what Scorch is going to do at the time of this video. Hopefully Scorch brings more Order 66 capabilities, because as we've discussed, without the data crown, Order 66 is kind of hard to apply. But again, Scorch might address that. The best way to get Order 66 right now is basically with CX2. CX2's unique ability, you just got to hit someone 3 times, or in 3 different turns, or you call them to assist or whatever, and boom, you get the Order 66. So kind of a pain, but it's only 10 times. It's only 10 times. It's not like it's 30, 40, 50, a trillion, anything like that. So it's going to take a little bit of patience. So that's probably going to be the best way of doing it. So maybe throw him in a Captain Rex lineup with a bunch of clones. Fies can call CX2 to assist. Shock T can do a swarm attack, call CX2 to assist as well with her ability where she goes, that one right there, whatever you want to call it. So there's ways of doing it. It's just kind of annoying. Hopefully Scorch is going to make this a lot easier. Or you could do like a cheese. Jedi Master Luke is the king of cheese in this game. Have Wat Tambor, throw the taunt on Jedi Master Luke, and then just get Shock T to constantly call in CX2 for the assist. Fives also can call him for the assist. So this is probably the most annoying one out there, especially if you have a garbage CX2 that has a hard time surviving. That's where you might find struggles. But again, try to find a team for that CX2 cheese if you have a low gear, especially where you have someone taunting and the enemy team only a single fire attack. So make sure you're browsing for one of those as you're climbing through your Sector 5 grind. Other than that, my friends, that is all we have for these feats. Let's do a quick tally on, for example, my free-to-play account, using it as a benchmark for what my situation looks like here. But long story short, as we could say, if you have Bad Batch, a lot of you guys might be in red crate territory out there. So let's go ahead and just show you what my free-to-play account is going to be up to. All right, so I'm just going to say it straight up. My Bad Batch of my free-to-play account is kind of garbage. It's one of those teams I would like to get around to eventually. Again, there are 5 million things I have to do. So I'm just going to be realistic with myself. I know I can probably take them to low gear. I'm not even really too convinced I'm going to even get use out of SM-33 in my free-to-play account. So I'm not too pressured for it, but let me just show you real quick. So let's just omit things that are Bad Batch related. So basically, 15 batters already off the top. If I can't do that, everything else should be pretty manageable in the global feats here. And then let's go take a look at Sector 1. Sector 1, again, my clone troopers are just pretty trash in general, nothing all that fancy. I could just maybe hope that Captain Rex gets the job done. So, all right, maybe we'll end up doing it. We'll do something funny with it. Secret intel I can do. I don't have a good Spectre team, so let's go ahead and just add a 5 on top of that. We can do basically all of these other things. All right, so that's 20 banners right there, 20 tickets, 20 conquest points, whatever you want to call it. Most of this should be pretty good. However, I don't really have a great Spectre attacker, so I'm just gonna throw a 3 on there. Again, let's take a look at my Spectre lineup. Probably nothing I'd want to brag about here. Yeah, let's see, Spectre. Spectre gadget, yeah, absolute trash. I do have Ray Darkside Vision, but keep that in mind. If you don't have Ray Darkside Vision, you're gonna be in a bit of a pickle. Sector 3, I likely am gonna skip out on the target practice, so add a +10. And as you see, we're already getting pretty close to the red crate maximum that I could skip out on. And let's see, I can basically do everything else inside of Sector 3. But again, most of these feats I'm skipping are Bad Batch related. I can do basically all these. I can keep Bad Batch Batcher surviving, and I do not have Jocasta new though. So we're gonna add a 4 there, and boom, we broke. And I also don't have Bad Batch, boom, 41. So we are definitely out of red crate territory here. And then Sector 5. Basically, the things I'm going to end up skipping out on, if I'm already in gold crate territory, I don't want to bother with Order 66. If I have to, I can make it happen, but let's just say for right now, I don't want to do it. That's 15 right there. I don't have Galactic Legend of Ahsoka Tano, and I don't have Balin Skulls. That's another, what is that, 5 right there. So basically, kind of being generous with all this, That's 64 key cards, and I'm well within the margin of victory for a gold crate, which again is the golden standard. But otherwise, if you have Bad Batch, the only things that might cause you some problems is not having Balin's Skull, for example, not having Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano. Let's just say you don't have any of these Conquest units like Jocasta Nu. But even so, even if we just include like Conquest and Galactic Legend specific things, yeah, Darkseid Vision Ray, basically that's 15 key cards just from that alone, which still gives you a little bit of a budget. What is that, 19 that you could skip out to get red crates. I think this is going to be manageable, but I think the key thing is having the Bad Batch up and running, which, as I made the point entirely clear on my free-to-play account, it's one of the factions I just eventually I'll get around to, but everyone needs a little bit of love when you're only 7 million GP. So that's going to wrap it up today, my friends. I wish you the best of luck on your journey to At-Aten. And on the way out, if you still don't know what the word insolence means because you're a pirate, you hit that like button. And if the pirate's life is for ye, you go ahead and comment it down below. Best of luck on your journey to getting SM-33. And in the upcoming months, we will see what the grander vision is for the new pirate faction in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Now, I must get off to my pirate duties because yo, yo, a pirate's life for me. I do my Bad Batch feats because that's very piratey. Oh, your feet suck, CG. Woo!
Oh, it's great to be in the Empire.